Anthony Hernandez is going to be taking on Reiner the Ritter in a title eliminator at middleweight. Now, it is a bit of a camera setup. I am experiencing some difficulties with my laptop. Hopefully back tomorrow. But still, had to make a video. Full breakdown of the Shanghai card come tomorrow. And Reinier, man. Reinier Fluffy is booked. And I'm very, very surprised, if I'm being honest with you. I did not expect him to make this fight like 1%. Obviously, the Ritter fought Whitaker a few weeks ago. Hernandez fought last week. And this is quite a short notice fight. This fight's only in a few weeks. So the winner of Imavov versus Baraujo kind of does not matter. Or they're next in line. They're going to sit out and wait while the Ritter fights, or the winner of the Ritter versus Fluffy fights Hamza, probably in January or February, maybe even March. So Baraujo versus Imavov winner could be actually sitting out for a whole year. Could be sitting out for a whole year, bro. Just to get their shot at Hamza. And who's to say a new up-and-coming contender at middleweight doesn't come and just take their shine? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is a risky play by the UFC, if I'm being honest with you. I thought, listen, you know, Baraujo or Imavov, especially if it's Nasty and Imavov, wasn't exactly the fight we all wanted to see. It wasn't exactly the most entertaining fight. It definitely was not going to be the most competitive fight, but it was the rightful number one contender, okay? And to be fair, how many times have we sat here and said, we don't need to see this fight? I said the same thing with O'Malley versus Sterling and O'Malley chilled them. Yes, Hamzat would absolutely destroy Nasruddin Imavov. He'd absolutely mop him. Like, that wouldn't even be competitive. But you cannot deny the guy what he's deserved. You just can't do it, okay? They gave Korean Zombie a fucking title shot versus Volkanovski, for fuck's sake. Nasruddin Imavov deserves it if he knocks out Adesanya and Baraujo back-to-back. He just does, okay? And if Baraujo wins, he's beating the guy who's beating Adesanya. So it's kind of that's the number one contender fight, in my opinion, anyway. But Dana White just has different plans. The UFC have completely different plans to what I think is the number one contender fight, or what the fans think. The Ritter versus Fluffy. Am I upset by this? Absolutely not. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to win. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to shut Reiner the Ritter down. I think he's just way better. I think he's more skill. I think he's a little bit better everywhere. Maybe apart from like the submissions, the Ritter probably has a little bit of an edge there. Striking, Hernandez is smooth. He's slick. But I don't think he beats Hamza. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I don't think either of these guys beat Hamza. Reiner the Ritter, presents his own problems due to him having a good submission threat, good grappling, things like that. Anthony Hernandez brings a well-roundedness to the table. He brings a good jiu-jitsu level to the table, but I just don't think either of these guys beat, Hamzat either. And I don't think it really matters who's across from the cage from Hamzat. A lot of people are saying that, Anthony Hernandez is the toughest fight for Hamzat Chimaev. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not in the boat of saying it is. I'm not in the boat of saying it's not. I was very impressed with the Rome Delizzi win. I was very impressed with the Rome Delizzi hands. I was very impressed with the Rome Delizzi submission. He looked good. There's no denying that. Reiner the Ritter had a very close fight with Robert Whitaker. You could give it to Whitaker. I'm not saying I did, but you could. There is that level of argument there that Robert Whitaker got that one done. I personally gave it to Ritter just about 3-2. I can't remember the rounds off the top of my head. But he just nicked it, okay? And if you look at the way Hamzat steamrolled Robert Whitaker, it's not going to exactly fill you with hope knowing that guy's next, if you know what I'm saying. It's just not. It's not going to fill you with hope. Can he give Hamzat problems on the ground? Listen, I've been watching this long enough to know that if Islam Makhachev is able to control Charles Oliveira on the ground, people on the ground don't really do shit, okay? There is that kind of example of maybe even Kevin Lee versus Tony Ferguson. Kevin Lee was doing extremely well holding Tony Ferguson down up until he got tired and got caught in a triangle. Okay, there is that kind of an argument. Oh well, Tony did get Kevin Lee and something like that. That's one example. There's obviously many examples. But even Charles versus Arman. Charles only got Arman in a few submissions. But Charles Oliveira is the best practitioner ever. I don't think Reiner the Ritter is the best practitioner in middleweight history. I just don't see that. Now, maybe he's got the most dangerous submissions in the middleweight division right now. Obviously, he brings that kind of 1FC level of experience. But I don't think that's going to be enough to get through Fluffy. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to shut him down in there. I think he's going to be able to maneuver him on the feet. I think when he gets to the ground, I don't think the Ritter is going to have that much of an advantage. It's going to be well even. And if it comes down to the feet, Anthony Hernandez is too slick. And this isn't a Robert Whitaker. This isn't, Dricus du Plessis. This is someone who's technically very sound kind of everywhere. And I think when I first saw this, I thought, you know what, yeah, De Ridder might nick that. He might get a nod here. But the more I kind of think about it, the more I think that Hernandez probably has the tools to do, the skills to pay the bills, you could say. And I'm going to be picking Anthony Hernandez via decision. Now, a lot of people are saying, it's going to be a finish and things like that, but whatever. I can see a finish as well. I'm not necessarily ruling out a finish, but I feel like Reiner the Ritter is going to be extremely hard to finish. He's got a kind of that Drickus dog in him, I think. So he's going to be hard to finish. But Reiner the Ritter can win. That's the thing. He can do knees in the clinch. I feel like Hernandez is going to do a good bit of body work, and I think, Reiner the Ritter is not going to be able to cope with the body work that Hernandez brings. But there is good knees in the clinch here for De Ridder. There's very good knees in the clinch I think he can use. Clinch work is going to be his friend in this fight. Hernandez is good at staying off the cage, so I'm just picking Hernandez in this fight. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to win this one via decision. Let me know what you know. Think down below. Who's going to be next for Hamza? Is it going to be the winner of De Ridder? Is it going to be the winner of Imavov? What do you do with the winner of this? Is it a fatal four-way where the winner fights the winner? I highly doubt that's going to happen. We don't really know what's going to happen with middleweight. I know Anthony Hernandez is going to get this one done. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.